Did everybody have a good Christmas, good New Year's, and ready for a rocking 2026?
Good
Yes.
morning. Yes.
Well, I want to kick off. I found a video that I wanted to play, very short, just to kick us off on the right step for 2026. So hold on one second. Okay.
See, when you begin to understand and acknowledge your fear and you go forth anyhow, you go forth in a spirit and a knowing that there's a way. And when you have that kind of consciousness, when you have that kind of spirit, nothing can stop you. Nothing. What would your life be like as you look toward the future if you decided, I'm not going to allow my fears to stop me? What would your life be like? What would your future be like if you decided to want that which you desire so strongly that it prepares you past your fears, that you experience the fear, as the one book says, feel the fear and do it anyway? What would your life be like? And I'm saying to you, that all of us who have been entombed by fear have the capacity to resurrect ourselves and to resurrect our dream.
Just want to don't let the fears in 2026 stop you. But I'm going to turn it over to Mary Jo to kick off our training today.
Yay. Thanks. So good to be here. And yes, feel the fear and do it anyway. How many of you have read that book? If fear isn't something's blocking you or you feel it is, I recommend that book. It's a great book to help you overcome because we don't want to let anything stop us. I mean, what do we live our lives for? To be stopped? No, we want to keep going. We want to keep going. Every challenge. Another way to look at it, every challenge in your life, look at it as like, wow, thank you, God, for bringing this challenge in my life. I'm going to overcome this one too. Most people go crawl into a hole and bury themselves. Am I right or right? Right. And I think we're given challenges throughout our lives for purposes so that we grow ourselves, right? We learn how to be stronger. So let's go out there. You'd think by now I would have read that book. Yeah, there you go, Shane. You've only heard me recommend it 100 times probably over the years. Yeah, feel the fear and do it anyway. All right, so we got a great training today, and we're going to kick it off. First of all, we're going to have one of our great speakers and somebody that's really been helpful for us, Rosemarie. She's going to come out and train us on choosing your word. It's a great concept because we're kicking off a new year. And when we have kind of this a guiding light, and I'm not trying to distract or detract anyone from their faith, because that truly, for me anyway, and for a lot of you that I know, I mean, that's our guiding light in our life. But as we live day in and day out, if we choose a word, we can be really benefit from that in an immense way. And Rosemarie, is she here? I don't even see her on the screen.
She is having computer trouble. She just left me a message, so she's working on that. Mary Jo,
I think you were going to kick off then, Al.
well,
You're,
I could
are
kick
you
off.
ready?
I
Yeah,
could,
then we'll just shift 1 and 2 around, so you'll kick
yeah.
off. Okay, so when Rosemarie gets in, we'll definitely have her do that. So Al, why don't you kick off? I know you're going to talk about the rebellion of hope was your topic, right?
Right. So
Transformation.
let me
Yeah.
make sure
You're ready to go.
I
We'll get
have
to
it here and ready
yeah.
to go. But in the meantime, while I'm looking
Oh,
for it, good morning, everybody. Welcome to 2026. Thank you, Richard, for being here with us. We're excited about what's coming today and what's coming the rest of this year. I must say, we had a pretty amazing December, actually. So that was very exciting. The company as a whole, and I know you'll hear it from Landon in a few days when he addresses everybody, but we had a pretty strong end of the year, a pretty strong fourth quarter. So that made us all pretty excited and encouraged for what's coming here in the next in this next year. So that's pretty exciting. So I hope you all had an amazing New Year's Eve and New Year's and Christmas. It's been a little while since we've been together. Kevin, it's good to see you, sir. You made it back from, I guess, Tennessee, and
Oh, it's been a crazy travel session, but it's been awesome. And my daughter actually was on a ski trip, and she got in at 1 a.m. last night, and they're staying here and just getting up.
Oh, okay, all right, well, good.
But it's been a blessing.
All right, so let me set this up. I mean, it is our first meeting of the year, so this is significant, and I appreciate that a lot of you have jumped in at a time, at such a time. I know for a lot of people, there's still a lot of traveling going on. Our daughter just left yesterday as well to Miami with the 2 grandkids. So I know we all have things happening in our lives, but the fact that you're taking the time to get on this early in a year and say, okay, this is it. I'm ready. We all the other stuff is done, and we had a great time and enjoyed family and all those things. But now it's time to really focus on what 2026 is about to bring us. So and be mentally prepared and be strategically prepared for 2026. My wife and I know we started New Year's Eve, at church, and they had this whole process of the word of the year for them, and they revealed the word of the year because they run their whole church based on what that word is. So I'm really excited about taking us through that exercise. It's going to be a two-step process. Today we'll give you enough of the basis so you can actually go ahead and do the work. Be introspective, figure out, take inventory on what's happened in 2025, the things you want to do more of, the things you want to do less of, and then pick a word that's going to really be your compass for 2026. So we're going to start that today. And I think on Monday, I know, Mary Jo, you'll be announcing it later. We're going to take a full hour in the normal call that you have and expand on it so that we can turn it from just the theory of it to an actual workshop. So a lot of you can come out of that with your word. I know I have my word for the year, which I might share later when we get into it a little bit. But so that's going to be a great process. Now, what we want to do and is the following Saturday, we do want to do a goal setting exercise. So there's 2 different things. Your word is one thing. The goal setting is another process. Your vision, your goal setting that is more specific, more practical. And that has to do with, what you do the next 90 days, what you do the next 6 months. And Richard, we assume that you may have an amazing goal setting training that you do, and we would love for you to help us with that. And
Right here.
You got it. Okay.
Right here.
So next Saturday, the whole session is going to be around dreams and goal setting, right? I mean, and getting. So I think between what's happening today, what's happening next Saturday, that you are going to be well equipped to go into 2025 in a very strategic, very clear, very focused. And if you don't know, 2026 is the year of the horse. And horse is about action. Horse is about execution. Horse is about running. So I think 2026 will be the year to run. It'll be the year to take everything that's happened in 2025. I think Mary Jo alluded to it. I have another presentation I just finished too, which is, how do you compare the year of the snake, which was last year, the year of the horse? And by the way, I say this not from I hope you guys understand, not from a spiritual point of view, but just from from being able to create the right images for us to work from so that we can really, get to where we want to go. I mean, I think sometimes working from these images is very important. The year of the snake was the year of shedding. maybe we shed a lot of beliefs, a lot of things that we didn't really that was holding us back. And it's also how you take venom and alchemize it into power, right? Because venom can kill you or can be great medicine. So everything we learned in 2025, everything that happened to us, everything that we didn't like about 2025, can we turn that into something that actually gives us power in 2026? So all those things are going to be happening. But I'm glad you're here because you want to be part of this process, and you definitely do not want to go into 2026 just in the motion, but instead very strategic, very focused, and very ready to take some really great action. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a perspective. Okay. Yesterday, I woke up very early in the morning and I read something from someone that I respect in the industry. And it was really, discussing this concept of what he called the rebellion of hope. And he did a pretty interesting job really telling us how, telling his audience how things have changed. The industry has changed. People are looking for different things today. And I took the elements of what he's, the key elements of his ideas, and I put that in conjunction with what we were doing, and this is what I got. And I'm going to tell you, it made me feel hopeful. It made me feel like what we are doing right now is exactly what we should be doing for, as a company, as a group of people, and that wants to address the needs of the market today. Because we could get really busy doing all the right things, but if the right things are not the right things, we're not going to get where we want to go, because what we're doing is not going to resonate with where people are at right now. And I think as I go through this, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I took all of that and put it together, and hopefully an insight that will help you, one, believe, because this is going to be very much connected to what I'm all about, which is the motivation equation, which is we work on a dream side, we work on a belief side, right? And the multiplication of belief and dreams equals motivation, which is, at the end of the day, what we all want to come out of this is motivated to go do something different in 2026 in order to create the kind of different results that we want in 2026. All right. So this is the idea. So basically, hopefully this is a truth that will change how you see everything and how you go to the marketplace, how you go and how you talk to people, how you propose to people the idea of joining you in your business, right? So this is the idea that if we understand where our prospects are today, right? And the author said, we're not losing prospect to other companies. We're losing them to algorithms, addictions, and a world that's engineered to keep people distracted and numb. So if you're wondering why are people not reacting to our message, it's not because the message is wrong. It's because they have been mesmerized, I would say, by all the distractions that are out there. So our number one enemy is distraction. Amount of hours people are spending daily on screen, social media algorithms that are designed to maximize engagement in those social media, not people's well-being. So, which the result of that is, while we think we're the most connected we have been digitally, people still feel more isolated than ever before. And that's important, because if that's what the problem is, then what we need to be able to do is present something that actually gives them different options that they're not getting from their day-to-day activities and the things that are giving them that dopamine, hits, is not in fact getting things done. It's just being mesmerized, being captivated by these distractions. So the traditional recruiting assumes people are actively looking for opportunity. I thought that was very interesting because we think that. I think that. And especially in my world, the immigrant world, people are looking for opportunity. So there is a subset of the population that are looking for opportunity. But the reality is most people are too overwhelmed to even recognize it when you put it in front of them. They are exhausted, distracted, and depleted. So the author said the battleship has shifted and we must shift with it. So what are we into? What is it that we really represent? It said, well, we're not in a product business. We are in a human needs business. Wow, I thought that was really important. Most people think network marketing is about products, compensation plans, or recruiting numbers. But the truth is we are in the business of meeting fundamental human needs. So we need to, if we understand that, we need to be positioning ourselves. We need to position our opportunity as something that meets those fundamental needs. And we're going to talk about those needs in a minute, and that's why, back in my Amway days, we said, we said we're not in the soap business, we are in the hope business, and that's an element that we have lost. And I know when Richard has a chance to talk a little later, okay, I would say that one of the fundamental things that has been lost over the years in our industry is this concept of hope and opportunity. And we've become this transactional type of a business, but yet we're not realizing that's not what people are looking for. Right? So that's not what people are really actually looking for. What they're looking for is hope. And we have to be able to offer that to them. Okay. When we understand that, then everything's changed. So they don't want a compensation plan. The modern prospect is not just broke. They're exhausted. What they want is relief. They're tired of pretending they're okay. They're tired of being unseen and unheard. They're tired of scrolling past fake success. They're tired of being stuck in cycles they can't escape. So what do they want relief from? Loneliness, discouragement, fear. You just saw that video. I'm sure when you were listening to and watching that video, it stirred something in you, because that is something that we all have, is the fear of of talking to people, fear of looking foolish or silly when we talk about things like an opportunity, relief from worry, guilt, resentment, boredom, and depression. Guys, that's what people are. That's what's happening while they're giving you a smiley face. In the background, the operating system is dealing with all these other things. And if we miss that, then we miss an opportunity to really be able to present something that actually, what we do actually takes care of some of these things, right? So if your organization doesn't meet these needs, the algorithm will meet them in a very unhealthy way. This is where I started getting excited, because I realized, and this is the thought for this morning, we are doing the things that meet these needs. And I'm going to get into it in a second here. So while social media provide artificial connection, people are still feeling empty. Streaming, Netflix binging, all these things you hear about, right? It provides escape, but it doesn't give transformation. Online shopping provides dopamine. I get in there in 2 seconds, I get to buy something. Wow, boom. And then I still have to pay the credit card. So that the long-term effect of that is not what we're looking for. Gaming, which is a big deal. It was a bigger deal than I ever imagined it was, is providing achievement because they have figured out algorithms that reward people for literally doing nothing but figure out how to move some things on a screen. But they get the achievement, they get the awards, they get the things that makes them feel like they're doing something. But in fact, no real world progress is happening. So the question isn't whether the needs will be met, is whether they'll be met in a healthy way, which is what that would be my thought for today. We meet those needs in a healthy way, in a way that gives them actually a chance to do something with their lives versus what the system is doing for them. So real leadership today isn't just a louder hype. Although if you're listening to me, it might sound like loud hype, but I'm just, I'm excited about what I'm talking about. But it's about creating a human refuge in an AI world. So the old model, be louder, be more persuasive, be more persistent. You've seen all of those cliches, but that is not what people want. That's why that old cliche of the car salesman is the one thing that people want to avoid. That's why there's this thing called Carvana, which looks like a little ATM machine where you literally, get your car to come down from this tower because you don't have to deal with anybody when you're doing that. The new model is create environments where people feel seen, supported, and transformed. And this is where we get into really the core of the message for today. What is Mannatech doing right now? What are you doing right now? What are we collectively doing together? Creating an environment where people feel seen, supported, and transformed. This is when I really got excited. And then this is where I started connecting the dots from reading this article to go, wow, okay. So in a world of artificial intelligence, authentic human connection becomes priceless. So I know Richard will tell you this. This is why network marketing is not dead. This is why network marketing is going to continue to thrive. This is why what you do matters, right? Because you are providing authentic human connections. And companies and brands that understand that choose that channel to get to the public are going to continue to have great success. We, as Mannatech, you in your personal business will continue to have great success because you are providing authentic human connection. Your organization must become a sanctuary from the digital noise. So transformation is the only real attraction. What actually attracts people isn't just your funnel, your branding, your pitch. People move towards environments where hope is restored. I saw, when I read that, I saw a lot of things, but I saw stadiums full of people who are following a preacher that we know, that we all know a little bit about, because his message is hope. And for as much criticism as he gets about, my God, this is very fluffy, it's not real, it's not Bible, it's not this, it's not that. But guess what? The stadium is full every Sunday. Why? Because he speaks of hope. So this is where we need to figure out in our message how to speak of hope, restore hope. Where people stand taller, speak clearer, live braver, where fear loosen its grip and loneliness does not survive. Many people are going to be with us because we are that refuge. We are that environment where they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel supported, and where hope is restored. So how do you connect that to what we're doing? The 21-day liver reset is a re-entry point to hope, where it looks like just a health program. It's actually something much deeper. So it's not just a structured 21-day wellness protocol. That's what we see. But beyond what we see, it's a decision to come back to yourself. The reset represents a commitment to personal transformation. Folks, and what did we say? Transformation is the new currency in network marketing. Transformation is the only real attraction, right? So people are not just buying a bundle of products. That's not what you should be selling. You should be selling how they're going to feel once they use that bundle of product, once they get into the discipline, right, of actually coming back to themselves, regaining what they have lost through bad habits, through bad nutrition, to bad food, to all those things, how they regain that and how they will feel when they do that. So becoming someone again. 21 days to rebuild what modern life has broken. You rebuild discipline, you reduce cravings, you reduce the noise, you regain energy, you restore self-respect. You just didn't buy something. You are becoming someone again. That's what we're selling. That's what this 21-day reset for me represents. And that's why I'm excited about that. Now, the real engine here is the communities that we have built. So I literally took the entire chat since we started on the liver support, took that whole thing and threw it on ChatGPT and said, okay, so what's going on here? And this is what ChatGPT came back with. It broke it down into 5 categories of things that were happening. So it said, yeah, so the protocol alone does not create transformation. The community does. What we have built is, and what we're building, and what we continue to build, and what we're going to expand on is a community that promotes belonging, that provides support, real-time guidance, real testimonials, and recognition. That is what's driving this program more than anything else. And this is what the author of this article, again, somebody I respect a lot in our industry, was saying. We need to be building movements. We need to be building communities. It's like, yes, that's what we're doing. That's what we got. We got community. When I went through that entire chat, literally, when I didn't figure out how to get the full thing in one link, I took 50 pictures of just you and what you guys were talking about and the questions and the answers and all that. Threw all those pictures in there, and when I was doing that, it amazed me how much was going on in there. The buzz that was being created, the excitement, the support, the recognition. We have built something beautiful. We have built a real refuge for people in a world of artificial intelligence, algorithms, and other things that are not really helping people to really advance and create and thrive, but instead it's keeping them mesmerized and frankly in a state of stupor, which is where we are finding these people, and we have an opportunity to move that into real progress when they're part of what we do. So when people find a refuge that makes them stronger, they don't just stay, they bring others. So the concept of duplication, right, is strong in what we're doing here. And everything we've done over the years has been, if there's 2 areas we've always thought, well, we need to recruit more and we need to duplicate. Well, this has embedded in it naturally the concept of evangelizing. Transformation creates natural evangelists. No manipulation required, just genuine results. It's driven on results, it's driven on transformation. So the best marketing is a changed life. That's what we have. That's our secret weapon, right? Change lives. Your job is not to convince, it's to create environments where transformation happens. So that's what we are offering. And we got 2 doors, 2 doors. One is a customer door, right? Where people can literally get that personal transformation. But door number 2 is they get to build a business from that, creating income by helping others, build their own community. and their own teams, lead people towards better habit. Both doors lead to transformation. One is personal and professional, right? So the reset is what's going to rebuild our momentum as a company, and this is basically, I mean, all that people have to do is, get the pack, join the community, and follow the daily tracker. Okay, now, having said that, and if we understand the value of this WhatsApp communities, these communities that we're creating, then I'm going to challenge us all that we need to get from 300 people in these communities to maybe 1,000 people in these communities. How do we get more people into these communities? So one of our goals for this year, for everybody here, is how many people do I have active, engaged in these communities? Because that's where the magic does happen, right? Build while you reset, lead the transformation culture, right? That's the proposition that we're putting in front of people, right? They're leading a transformation culture by transforming themselves. It's not a bottle, it's a culture of transformation. Products are commodities, transformation is rare. Anyone can sell supplements, but few can create lasting change. So when I'm talking to a prospect, what I want to talk about is impact, creating lasting change, not just how much can I make from selling a bundle of supplements. The opportunity isn't moving inventory, it's building environment where people become their best selves. People don't follow leaders who promise income, they follow leaders who restore hope. How much hope is coming out of your mouth? That's what we're going to practice over the next few weeks, creating a language of hope and opportunity. And transformation is the magnet to pull people in. Rebellions are built on hope. So 2026, may that be the year of the rebellion. When I was talking to Rose about this, and we met with Lydia and Mary Jo to plan today, she reminded us that in her previous company, when they had the biggest explosion, is because they had literally created this rebellion. They created another way to do business. They were criticized internally, they were criticized externally. People thought this will never going to work. Social selling is not going to be. Well, they proved pretty much everybody wrong. Now, so we need some rebellion. We need to be marching to a different tune than the rest of the world, because now the rest of the world is just hypnotized. They're distracted, they're hypnotized by what's happening on a daily basis. So much so that even when you bring them the very best thing in the world, they can't even process it. So we have to change our language. We have to change our offer to offer something that really deals with relieving them from those things that we talked about that are operating in the background, even though at face value it looks like, well, everything is great, but that's not really true, because the fear and the guilt and all those things are operating in the background. So, folks, welcome to the rebellion. The noise won't stop, but you can stop listening to it. You can start listening to your own body, your own potential, and a community that believes in you. So let's get back to hope in 2026. And that is my message, and I'm sticking to it.
Beautiful, Al.
Well, thank you, sir.
Really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Al. It was awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, hope. That's our word for 2020, our next 26, and we're going to run with that. And I hope all of you jump on board with it. That's what we have for people. All right, now Ross Marie's joined us, so we're going to plug you in. I know we planned on you coming first, but Al jumped in when you weren't here. So take over, Ross Marie. We want to hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to, I did have a share my screen and now it's disappeared. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. All right. All right. Thank you, Al. That was, as Richard said, that was beautiful. I love that. I feel like the companies that have a message, I feel like the companies that have a movement and they're creating big things always are that. It's around community. People are craving that. And Al did mention before that in my old company, we called it disruptive, which is kind of like a rebellion, right? We had to be disruptive. We said we're tired of the same thing. We're tired of just, people going out, the home parties and showing one product, two products. And we wanted something that was disruptive. And we created that. And everybody thought you guys are crazy. And it was probably one of the biggest, largest growing companies because we disrupted the norm. And sometimes you need to do that. But now the disruption has changed. People, like Al said, people are all in, AI, they're mesmerized, they're distracted. So now people are really looking for community. Now I know a lot of you in this group today are in the support chats and the information chats and everything having to do that, what we're doing with the community. And I want to congratulate you because I see that, Al and I were talking about it, and I love it. Everybody is just cheerful. Everybody is cheering each other on. They're helpful. And I think this is what's making us one big family. So very beautiful. I'll thank you. Thank you for bringing that to us today. So right now we're going to talk about why the word of the year matters. And it kind of all ties into what we've been talking about already. So why the word of the year and why not goals? Okay. And I'm going to explain that a little bit as we go on because it is different. Okay. The word of the year, why does it matter? It's one word, one focus, a year of intentional growth. So with this, we're going to have clarity over chaos. Your word becomes a filter. All right. It helps you decide when to say yes and when to say no. So my word last year was congruency. I wanted to be congruent with everything that I did. So what did that cause? And maybe you think, well, how is this meat and bones? Like or meat and potatoes? How is this not like fluff? And, we've been doing this now for about 8 years. I have a word for myself and then we had a word for the family. Okay. So this word just helps how to make our decisions. For example, since my word was congruency last year, because I was being congruent with everything, I lost friendships, okay? Or I shed them, as Al would say, the snake. I shed some friendships. I shed some business opportunities that I'm so glad I did because it did not align with what I wanted to do last year. And I knew that if I was congruent, it was going to set me up for 2026. Okay. So like I said, people left my life, businesses left my life. I said no to things that usually I would have said yes to, just because you're good at something and people say, well, can you do this for me? Can you do this? Then you become like the yes person. So there were times that I had to say no because I thought, is this congruent with, am I living in congruency? So it was my filter for the year. And it really helped me a ton because, there are some things that you look back and I don't know if I should teach it now. I don't know if you announced it, Al. We're going to have this on Monday, like on a deeper level.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. So because I don't have an hour to go over this. This is also a compass for your decisions. Instead of goals. Now, why is it different from goals? I'm not saying goals is bad or setting goals is bad. I think setting goals is wonderful. And I think we've been proving it year after year after year. I mean, many network marketers, many business people, if you don't have a goal, you kind of don't have a North Star. You don't know what where you're heading to, what your target is. But the word of the year helps. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you have a goal. Okay, this week, I'm going to work out 5 times. All right. Well, one of the days you get a flat tire. Okay. You can't go to the gym. And then as you're walking inside, you trip over a cord and you hurt your knee. All right. So your goal for that day is shot, right? Can't go to the gym. You can't work out at home. And then, so we're hard on ourselves like, oh crap, I missed my goal. I really wanted to have a goal today of not, doing this. And that's where sometimes people get, frustrated. But one thing about a word is that even though, let's say, they say your goal was to work out, but your word of that year is, let's say, discipline. or resilience. Okay. Well, maybe you didn't work out that day, but then you're going to choose a day and then you're going to go the next day. That's going to make and as simple as that sounds, people, when they don't reach a certain goal, they get upset or they start, being hard on themselves. That's why I always pair the goal for the year with a word of the year. Okay. Because they kind of go hand in hand. They're brothers and sisters or they're best friends, and they'll help each other. They'll help you navigate through the whole year. And like I said, your word adapts to real life. So this is also going to reset rewire your mindset. So what you focus on is going to grow. Your word trains your awareness daily. All right. So one of the exercises that we're going to do on Monday is think of last year. What were the things that took away your peace? Okay. What were the things that you were unhappy about with yourself? What were things that made you uncomfortable? So these are all things that we reflect. A lot of the times people will choose a word based on what they want to become that year. What are you going to become with this word by the end in December? The word that I chose really helped me, really, because I said I have to be congruent. I have to be aligned. And especially there were some times when I would say, okay, I'm going to do this. And then something would happen and it would, I'm trying to give a good example. And it was with Johanna and Al. I remember one time we were going to have like some kind of a training or something like that. If I can't remember, if I remember correctly, we were going to do a training and we're thinking, nobody's going to really come. I don't know. It's good. Everybody's in holiday mode. Maybe we should cancel. We were kind of in that. I don't know if you remember, Al. We were kind of in that, teeter-tottering with that idea. And then we said no, and I'm glad that we were all aligned. And we said no, let's just do it. And I thought to myself, this is my word. I'm going to be, even if there's nobody on, I'm going to get on, and we're going to do this training. We're going to, we're going to do this leadership. I can't remember what it was. And we showed up, and 21 people were on. To me, that was amazing because I'm thinking, wow, this is a day that people think nobody's going to show up. And we were really thinking it's a bad day, bad timing. 21 people showed up. So those 21 people were there to hear us. And to me, I was very grateful because I said, I'm living my word. Because I'm living my word, these people showed up. We were able to deliver. So that's what a word, why choosing a word for the whole year is going to help you. So emotion fuels action. A word connects identity to behavior. And again, when I use my word congruency, the decisions I made, the thoughts that I had, even things in my personality, like let's say somebody comes and attacks you or somebody comes and you want to be reactive. Well, when you're congruent, I'm like, what is it? What is my word? I connected with my word and I even acted differently towards either an attack or even a compliment. It could be anything in your life, anything that you handle with your children, because a word is not only going to be for your business. Choosing a word for the year is going to help you in your family, your relationships, your friendships, your marriage. I remember one year our family, the word was balance because Eddie and I were just working so hard. And then we noticed that we said, wow, we noticed it in our children. They were kind of acting out because they wanted our attention. So our word for the next year was balance. And it really helped out a lot. And here we go. Consistency without the burnout. Okay. You don't quit or restart. You simply realign. That's the difference between setting goals and then having your word. Like I said, they go hand in hand. One of the girls that I have, that I was coaching last year, she had bad MLM PTSD. I mean, her last company they were moving legs out from under her. They were taking leaders. I mean, the worst experience you can probably have in a network marketing company, she had it. And when I approached her, and one of the things that she loved was the community. I said, just come in, plug in, look at what we're doing. And I mean, she fell in love with the science. I wasn't trying to convince her and saying, you have to let go of the PTSD. You have to just, forget about all that stuff. I didn't give her that hardcore leadership. I just invited her. It was a soft invite. I said, take a look at what we're doing. At that time, we were doing something that we call the sexy body transformation. I said, just check it out. And she loved it. She said, wow, this community is really cool. So I broke down her barrier, and then we did the exercise. I said, okay, we're going to have the word of the year. She came in around November. So we did the whole word of the year. And let me tell you, when I found her, she was in bad shape. I mean, bad shape. She went from making $15,000 a month to making about 500. You know, she moved to Mexico. Many of you know her. Her name's Iris. And she wouldn't mind me sharing this because it was something that she talks about herself. And she went from making $500 to $300 a month. She was broken. And I said, you know, let's choose your word. You know, choose your word. She goes, oh, I don't know. You know, how about hope? I said, no, it's got to be, or how about love? You know, I said, it's got to be something that every decision that you make in your life is you have to think about that. You know, when you're at a crossroads and you're thinking, what should I do? You always think of your word. What would your word have you do? So her word was Phoenix. And Phoenix was just, she goes, I want to rise from the ashes. I said, oh, great. So I look at her now, and the other day she called me, she said, wow, I can't believe it. She goes, I really converted. And many of you have heard her testimony and the way she speaks, the way that she teaches. She really she's really living her word. Her word was, you know, it became, I guess, alive in her. So everything she did, you know, some of the time she said, you know, sometimes my friends would come because they knew that she was kind of taking some time off, and they would, oh, let's go here, let's go take a trip here. And she would spend money that she didn't have. And then she goes, that's not what I want to do. That's not going to help me rise out of the ashes and become the network marketer that I want to be, the wife that I want to be, the person that I want to be, because the relationship with her husband was suffering, the relationship with her family was suffering, everything. It was a really, really bad time in her life. So now she's making between $1,000 and $1,500 a month. Okay. She's one of the biggest advocates of the 21-day reset. You know, she won. I think it was her team. It was her and two of her teammates that were the only ones that got 5 resets in a month. Right? I'm saying this is right, Al?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm not giving out false information. But to me, I said, you know, that's something that's so beautiful. And that's something that, because it wasn't just a word that you throw, okay, I'm going to be, my word is great. I'm just going to be great this year. No, you really have to think about, and that's what we're going to talk about on Monday. We're going to go deep so that you can really choose your word and choose how you want your 2026 to go. And this is the goal, that at the end of the year, you want to ask, who did I become? You know, what did I do? Because it will change who you are. It will change. Like I said, sometimes I'll choose a word that I know that'll go kind of with a weakness I have, you know, or something that I really want to do for that year. I'm trying to give you really good examples of what, like, for example, this year, I've been thinking about it. I haven't chosen my word yet, but this year, one of my words, or my word, I think, or one of my choices is going to be intention. To do everything with an intention. And I mean everything. And I haven't chosen the word yet, but on Saturday we had a breakfast, and Eddie told me, and this is a family word. And he's, okay, what are we going to get out of this breakfast? You know, what are we, you know, so we went to the breakfast, and it was one of those things that he told me. He said, this year I'm going to say no to anything that has nothing to do with my goal. Okay, this is what I want to do. And anything that's going to get in the way of that, it's going to be no. We're going to hyper focus as a family. We're going to hyper focus everything. And this is one, like I said, we had our goals, but then our word as a, you know, like I said, we're choosing, but I love the word intention, because we didn't follow our gut, the breakfast ended up being a waste of time. He was mad because we were trying to do a silver transaction, and silver went up. And he said, because we didn't listen to what we said we were going to do, we lost $8,000. I said, okay. You know, and I want to give you these examples because at the end of the day, these things, you know, you can put it into real day, your daily living. So long story short, he started like haggling and, you know, talking with our silver dealer. And we didn't lose 8,000. It was only 2,000. But still, you know, that was one of the things he said. He goes, everything that we're going to do this year is going to align with whatever word that we choose. So your word shapes your year. Choose a word that reflects reflects you at next level. So that is going to be it for me. I know you guys wanted me just to do like a short word of the year. And I don't know if anybody has questions on that, because one of the things that we spoke about, and because when we do choose a word, people start tying it to goals, and it's completely different. Your goals and your word of the year is completely different.
Yeah,
So,
Rose, do you
yes.
maybe because we're going into this other session on Monday, what
Uh-huh.
should people be prepared with? I mean, what kind of exercises they should be doing on their own? What kind of
Uh-huh.
introspection should they be doing on their own before they get to that meeting on Monday that will really help them to get, to at the end of that meeting be able to have their word for the year? What would you recommend, you know, that introspection to be, and what do you want them to come prepared with?
Okay. Well, one of the things that, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, is you want to know what things made you uncomfortable last year, what things took away your peace, um, what things, and it's really, you don't really need to prepare for it, because if you over prepare, then you start getting responses that are not real.
Mhm.
You start thinking of stuff that, how you wish it was, as opposed to the reality. So really they're good exercises because they get you in the moment. You really start thinking about it in the moment.
Okay.
Hmm.
So what I'm hearing is you really want people to come with an open mind to that Monday 10 o'clock session.
Hmm.
So don't confuse yourself and go off on 18 tangents between now and Monday morning, because then you'll come in with confusion versus just be open and ready
Yeah, because you
for
start
a
overthinking.
phenomenal year, right? Just an openness and readiness for the gift that you're going to be given in this process,
Hmm.
instead of predetermining it because you're smarter than you think you are, right? Okay, so okay, then I can grapple with that one.
Yeah, we tend to overthink things.
Yes,
That
I
and
like
that's
that. I love
everybody.
that. Yeah. But do come to the Monday session without all these preconceptions. Come with a total open mind. You're ready for whatever you're drawn to conclude in that 1 hour session, right? That's what we're asking.
That's right.
Yay.
I think Barbara said, "Hi, Happy New Year. I want to create a belly fat revolution that leads to a 21-day liver reset. Can you mentoring on this, please?" Yes, you can message me and we can talk about it. Okay, that's it.
Great. Well, thanks
And
so
then the
much.
next, thank you. And then the next person is it Richard, or is it the privilege of, is Richard next?
If I'm next, I got 5 minutes. I got a hard stop at 7. I
Oh
don't know,
goodness.
Al.
Oh,
I don't know anything about the format today.
okay. I thought you had gotten the agenda. Sorry if we didn't get it to you. Yeah.
I don't have an agenda.
Then Richard, let's just go next, because obviously you won't be able to be here later. But before you do, let me just set it up, and maybe if we can get rid of the stop the share, and then we can just go through this. So, Richard, today is the official launch of your new book, right?
Oh, it
And
is, yeah.
and it just happened to be very, almost, too convenient, because when we met this past week, we talked a lot about, you know, if transformation is going to be the key thing that we're really presenting and proposing to people, there is a physical transformation, but then there's also what I would call a mental transformation that we all need. And the only way to do that is through reading, which is something we've learned. So we are deciding to start a book of the month club, a book of the month program like they do in South Africa. And the first book that we will be presenting will be your book, which is Leadership on Fire. Read the manuscript. There was more there than you said there was, by the way, Richard. It's not just your normal leadership book. So since you only have 5 minutes, why don't you talk about maybe the concept of books and a little bit about this book? I'm going to share with them. I got information from Wade how everybody can get a hold of that book. Uh, on Amazon, but because Amazon is having some trouble shipping immediately, those who have confirmed a purchase of the book will also get a digital version of the book so they can start reading it. And we'll be and basically every Saturday that we huddle, we'll take the first 15 minutes to actually go through segments of the book. So we'll break up the book in four. So we'll deal with the chapters that will make that 1/4 of the book during that huddle, just to make sure everybody is not just reading on their own, but we're getting an opportunity to share about the book. But let me turn it over to you, the power of books and why this book.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Al. I'm honored that you chose it as the first book of the month. And I think this is a wonderful practice. I was never in Amway, but we always want to remember Amway is the largest network marketing company on the planet, has been the largest network marketing company for my entire career, 48 years. It's always been number one. And it's number one by a factor of at least two. It's twice as big as number two. And if you look at the culture of Amway, and like you ask, like, well, how did that happen? Because it's certainly not the brand, right? If you go ask 100 people, hey, what do you think about Amway? You're not probably going to get a really good response, right? But so how did they overcome that? Well, they overcame it by being an organization that is aligned with what Al was talking about initially this morning, which is not selling a product, right? Like, can you even, you probably can, but most people know the name Amway, but they have no idea what Amway sells. They're going to say something like soap and vitamins. That's the product brand of Amway. How did Amway attract so many people? And it's not customers that Amway has attracted, although all these people are buying $8 billion worth of product. What Amway attracted was people to a community, to an environment, to a culture. And that culture is all about, hey, you matter. We see you. We hear you. We care about you. And there's a possibility for you to become something better here. Not necessarily more money, but more money, more courage, more confidence, more travel, more connections, more friends, more leadership, transformation, right? The possibility of that, you could label it hope. Hope's not my favorite word in the world, but I get the intention when people use the word hope. I prefer something more like inspiration. Hope sometimes for me lands as maybe a little bit desperate, like maybe hope, but yeah, I hope it happens, but I get the intention. The intention is like, let's create an environment where people see a possibility for a better life. And they see a possibility for themselves to be more connected, more seen, like they matter more. And that's how Amway built Amway. And so, one of the things that Amway did culturally is it made its movement all about personal development. I don't know. It wasn't really, there was a book of the month, I think, always in Amway, but probably the key component was tape of the week, right? Every week there was a different audio tape that these top leaders sent out to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, and everybody listened to that audio tape. And although I was never in Amway, I know for a fact that who I am as a leader in network marketing is a great deal of that has to do with my first year or two in network marketing, because I was fortunate to be recruited into a company that, yeah, we had a product, we had a comp plan, and everybody was trying to see how much money they could make. But the culture was about us becoming more. And in that process, here's some books that were transformational to me. Think and Grow Rich. I probably read that book a dozen times. And I haven't read it in a dozen years, but in the first year or two of my career, I probably read Think and Grow Rich a dozen times. I probably read The Magic in Believing a dozen times. I listened to the audio tape, The Power of Goal Setting by Paul J. Meyer, probably 1,000 times, twice a day for a year. Listen to that audio tape, just a 30-minute audio tape. That kind of immersing ourselves in new ideas, new thoughts it's the same concept as Rosemary's talking about with Pick a Word, right? What does the Pick a Word do? Well, it's kind of like your book of the month, only it's your word of the year. If you pick a word intentionally, what you just declared was, this is my guiding light. This is my North Star for the year. This is how I'm going to filter my decisions. This is how I'm going to filter and anchor my attitude. And so it doesn't really matter what word you pick, because the nature of the exercise is pick a word that is transformational for you. Pick a word that is inspirational for you. Pick a word that is going to have you guide you to be bigger and better than you are today. And the brilliance of the one word is, reading a book can be intimidating for people. Picking a word, that's pretty simple. It's one word, right? It's not one book, it's one word. Pick a word and just focus on it for the year. It'll change everything. Change everything. If you just print it out, put it where you can't ever forget it, right? And it'll be like a guiding light for you, like a North Star. It'll change a lot for you. So books, I think, are really important. For me, they got to be short and they got to be simple. So this book, I don't know how many pages it is, maybe 120. And it's an experiential book. In the end of every chapter, there's at least 4 or 5 or 6 questions to have you contemplate. And the book is basically 10 practices that lead to extraordinary leadership. And the business that we're in, folks, is, it's not the reset business. It's not the liver business. It's not the nutrition business. Those are means to an end. Those are really cash flow means to an end. We're in the people business. That's how you become successful in network marketing, is inspiring people. And our income in network marketing is dependent on how big our team is, right? How productive it is. But assuming you have a really good product and a good program, a certain percentage of your team is going to buy the product every month. So how you influence your income is how big is your team? And how do you grow a big team? That's all about leadership. That's all about who are you and who are you being and what is your message? And how does that inspire people? How does that inspire people's hope? How does that get people's attention? How does that move people off their phones, their screens, their whatever they're doing to dumb themselves down and focus on some new journey? That's all your voice. That's your voice. Whether it's on social media or it's in front of the room or it's one-on-one with another person, what causes people to move away from dumbing themselves down to looking to the future is a voice. Sometimes it's a minister's voice. Sometimes it's a video voice. Sometimes it's a book voice. Sometimes it's an audio tape voice. But what it boils down to is, who's the person behind the voice? That's you. So what this book is about is 10 practices, things that you will want to learn to do always if you're in the people business. And the first practice is vision. So what is your story? What are you up to? Where are you going? Why are you going there? And why should anybody go with you? And, that's a big part of you being able to communicate. That is what causes people to look away from where they're looking, that depresses them, and look to inspiration and look to hope. Your message, your vision, and how are you communicating it? So this is a book, I thought about writing it, probably every year for the last 20 years. I'm glad I waited because, every year you have more perspective and more wisdom. but I think it's one of those books that you could read kind of like, I think it's interesting, the paradigm of book reading, right? There's only one book I know of, maybe two, depending on your religion, that people look at it and they go, well, I'm going to read this book for the rest of my life, and that'd be the Bible, or maybe the Quran, or some equivalent, depending on your religion, right? But it seems like every other book, our relationship to it is, oh yeah, I read that. And so check the box, right? Oh, I read 100 books a year. I see a lot of gurus like to brag about that. And I want to ask them, well, how many of them can you teach without notes? If you can't teach it without notes for 30 minutes,
That's not
I don't care that you read it, because that's a waste of time. The only way a book is valuable to you and I as leaders is, have you internalized it to the point that you have become it or are becoming it? And do you know it well enough that you can impart it to other people? Otherwise, it's just stupid bragging rights. So this is a book that I wrote with the intention of read it a lot, read it often, read it every year, do the exercises every year. And I think it'll have a huge impact on your leadership. And with that, I got to go because somebody's waiting for me. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you very much, Richard. And I'll communicate with everybody on how to go ahead and get the book, and we'll chat later. And
And
good luck.
today on the
Good luck
launch,
with the book
launching
launch.
it. Yeah.
Launching
Good luck
it
with the launch.
at 10
12.
Hawaii time today if you want
10
to join.
Hawaii. Okay. All right. And you're launching it on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think
Rosemary
I got
has the link.
Yeah, I think I got the link. Okay, perfect.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Richard. All right, super. All right, let me since we're gonna have a little extra time, Mary Jo, I think I'll expand just a little bit on the book program, because when Richard is talking about the book program and how Amway used that to literally inoculate people against what I would call the negative of whatever, as you guys know, Amway didn't have the best reputation. There was a lot of things out there, some true, some not true, about what Amway was, but it didn't matter, because basically the people were inoculated against the negative. They were inoculated against those things because they were building themselves up. So when we met yesterday and we started talking about this word transformation, and we realized transformation is holistic. It's not just physical, right? We got to transform in every aspect of our lives. And we know that one of the most powerful tool of transformation when it comes to people's mindset is reading. Now, Richard also talked about listening. So I was in charge of picking the book of the month for 17 years, which was a very interesting process, because I would get 25 books, 25 books every month. I would read through all of them. Some of them were not worth a minute, and some of them were really interesting. But I had to go through all these 25 books, pick 6 that we then send out to the top leaders. The top leaders would then read it, they would evaluate it, send me the evaluation, and based on the evaluation, we would pick one of the 6. And we did that for 17 years. But this is the deal. Every time we had a book, 30,000 people were getting the same book at the same time. So now you know why the book companies love to send us book, to hope we would pick their book, because that would be a 30,000 book order. So that was truly the secret of the billions and billions and billions of dollars of business that the company did, is because we were working on people's mindset. And that was very powerful. Now, we don't have to go too far to see what that has done in places like South Africa. We're all very respectful and very in awe of what they've done in South Africa over the years. They've created a culture of leadership, but that culture of leadership has come in with this concept of reading. So I'm hoping that for a lot of you, and again, this is all optional. We're gonna love you either way. So yeah, there's no judgment here. Some of you will be part of the group, the book of the month. Some of you may not. But the idea is that every month we will have a book that we will recommend. Now, hopefully, we'll recommend it early enough so you can get it, so you can start reading by the first. But this is a commitment. This is a real commitment to your personal growth. I started rereading the Richest Man in Babylon because one of the things that for me and for Johanna that's going to be very important this year is financial stewardship, and that book is the most amazing book I've ever read on financial stewardship. I want to just get into that book so much that I live it, read it every day, and hopefully there might be a workshop that will come out of that once I've actually applied those things successfully into our lives, into our financial life. But so that's going to be separate from the book of the month, because the book of the month is going to be Leadership on Fire by Richard Brooke. And Rose, if you have the link for people to actually be, attend the launch of the book.
Hey, Al, I put in the chat
Oh, you put
already,
it? Okay, perfect.
and I also put how they can pre-order the book on
Okay,
Amazon.
so you have that as well? You
Yes.
already have that as well? Okay, perfect. So for those of you who will purchase it, send Lydia your screenshot that says, I bought the book. And Lydia, we'll work with Wade, you and I, and then everybody who's bought the book will get immediately, he'll be sending you a PDF version that you can start reading until the book arrives. The book should be arriving sooner than the 24th because they sold out the first two shipments at Amazon, and there's a third shipment that Amazon actually has in their hands. So they may turn that on sooner than the 24th. But so whatever it is, just you'll get the PDF version. And some of you, if you are in Europe and you buy the book, and I know it takes a little longer to get there, just let us know you bought the book. One, I think it's great for us to support Richard. I think he's been amazing at supporting this organization. But two, I think there's real value to all of us collectively reading the same book every month. Think of the power of when 30,000 people in an organization were reading the same book. Our verbiage, the way we thought, just the way all our brain connected was very powerful. And I think we can recreate that same power here. I don't know about you guys, but I have big expectations for 2026. How many of you are here? I mean, 2025 was the year of planting the seeds, tilling the land, removing the rocks out of the way and everything else, so that in 2026 we can really have beautiful harvest, right? So I think we've done really well the last 4 months. We've set a lot of the right things in place, the community. We have the right system, and we're just going to talk a little bit about what we're about to launch with the 5-day reboot as well, which is really a tool, right, to help us implement the 21-day reset, because the gold standard of what we're doing right now is a 21-day reset. The real transformation is in the 21-day reset, but we can have tools that helps us get there and get the most amount of people that we can to go ahead and join this movement that we've already created. So anyways, I think everybody understands that. I'm not even going to ask who's going to join, who's not. Look, go back and check your conscience, figure out what you want to do. What kind of year do you want in 2026? I will just highly recommend that if you want 2026 to be different, do a few things differently. Some of you already read books. I mean, if I ask for a show of head, how many of you already read books? I mean, Mary Jo has a book review every month. I mean, so you guys already are in that mode. So it's not like we're coming up with something, you know, extraordinary. It's just that we're going to systematize. We're going to systematize the education system.
Well, Al, love the saying, we're either green and growing or we're ripe and rotting. There's no such thing as stability. You
No,
can't stay stable. So the decision here is, are you going to choose to be green and growing or ripe and rotting when it comes to your growth? And I think reading books, as you said, I probably read at least 2 books, three, maybe even three some months, because I just love the constant development and constant work on my mind to just open my eyes to new ideas, new things, being more analytical, all these things to contribute, because I think it's, a lot of people say, well, Mary Jo, you're 70 in your 70s now, blah, blah, blah. What keeps you so young? And I said, because I stay young. I take on the same things I did when I was 20. I work out every day. I love to eat healthy and I read all the time. I'm always enhancing my knowledge. So the idea for all of us is, I think it'll just bring, if nothing else, it will bring more joy in your life because you'll feel rewarded by your growth that you go through. But through that, if you have greater joy in your life and more self-satisfaction, are you not going to be more attractive to other people joining you in your business? Think about it. It'll uplift you and people will be around you and see all this energy and they're going to go, hey, I want to be around that person. Truly. So I'm all in for it, Al. I think it's a great idea, super idea, and there's so many books out there. And the one thing with books too, I mean, people go, "Well, I've read so many books." I said, "Do you know how many new books come out every single day?" I mean,
right. So the process is going to be obviously how do we pick the next book? I'm gonna encourage all of you to get very proactive in this. Let us know. I mean, if you think there's a book out there that you have found very helpful and you think the organization should read, let us know. Obviously, we'll start reviewing those suggestions now for next month so that we can give it to you in advance. I will be also, I'll be working with Darren in South Africa to see which books they've actually used in the past, and we'll put that list out to you guys as well, so that we can, it's a collaborative effect. This is not, and not any one of us are going to be the only judge of which book we want to read. The more you get engaged, the more proactive you are, the more helpful this will be for us to keep feeding this community the proper way. To your point,
Hey, Al.
yeah.
Also, isn't this a great thing that you could invite your team members who are not on here today too?
Right. Well, that's exactly what I was going to go. Okay, 2 things. One, it should be, because remember when we were talking about what is our job? Our job is to create an environment. I think with Mary Jo, you were saying that an environment that helps people to really flourish, right? So it's always amazed me that we are always so much more excited about our people learning more about glycans and learning more about antioxidants and this, which is all good stuff we want, than we have been about people really elevating their mindset through reading. So we're changing that. We're really changing that. Okay, because really the one thing people will remember more than anything else, if our job is to create that environment, if our job is to leave them better than we found them, it's not going to be the glycan knowledge that's going to make them better than that we found them. It's going to be the things they transform, what they become in the process of being with us for whatever amount of time they're going to be. Well, one of the things Richard didn't say, but in Amway, go try to recruit somebody out of Amway. They're the hardest people to recruit out of their company. And it's not because they're making money. It's not because the products were so amazing. It's because the growth, when people feel like they're growing, they stay. When people are not growing, they leave. So, you guys hear me? So sometimes growth could be, oh, I'm making more money, but we can't control that. But if they're reading, I can assure you, they're growing. And they'll appreciate this community for being concerned about them growing their mindset, because their mindset growth makes you the kind of person you want to attract. We don't attract who we want. We attract who we are. So when you elevate you attract at that level. Does that make sense? So that's why for me, read and personal development was so powerful in my past life, because and that's what certainly the things we found in South Africa as well. How did they find such great leaders? Because first they became great leaders, and then they attracted great leaders. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think we're doing something here that's going to revolutionize this organization, right? Because we do have a great, powerful proposition with transformation and community, and now we're layering in there personal development. So yes, one, you want to go to everybody in your team and be relentless. Guys, leaders interfere in the lives of other people. Period. Leaders interfere in the lives of other people, with one caveat: not just so that you can get more PVs, you interfere in their lives to get them to do the things that are going to be better for them. And I don't think anybody here would disagree that if your people are reading, is that better for them? Whether they do 1 PV or 1,000 PV, it doesn't matter. If they grow, you have accomplished your mission to leave them better than you found them.
Amen.
Does that make sense?
Amen.
So
It's not
that's the
about the
one
bottom
place,
line,
right?
Al. It's not about your bottom line. It's about the impact you leave in this world.
Right. So you cannot be more impactful than turning people on to reading. The person who gave me the magic of thinking big 45 years ago, after my first meeting, and put that book in my hands, did me the greatest favor you can do to another human being, because not only he changed me for sure, but he changed my future generations, because he put that book in my. I didn't even know that personal development existed. I didn't know that positive thinking, negative thinking. I didn't know that. I was 20 years old. I didn't know that what dreams were about. Does that make sense? Until somebody put in my hand the magic of thinking big. And from that day on, my life was transformed forever and for multiple generations. So guys, let's be that person. So that's why I think this is going to be very powerful. We're going to administer it in a way that's very honorable, and then all of you really can help us to make this the best program there is. And I can't wait for how this thing is just going to explode exponentially, our impact. And in that, you think, well, will volume come out of that? You bet your life. Volume, ranks, more commission, all those things will come as a byproduct of growing people. Growing people. What's your business? Next time somebody says, what do you do? We grow people. What? What's that mean? Well, we create environments where people can flourish and be the best version of themselves. How do you do that? Well, that's when then you got to go, okay, let's have coffee. Let me show you how we do that. All right. So anyways, great. Any questions? Any questions on this? I know we have a little bit extra time, so I'm using it to make sure we drive these things. So next Monday, we're definitely going to be doing the word, which is going to be exciting. Next Saturday, we're going to do a whole day, a whole morning of just a goal setting and strategizing for 2026. And now on Tuesday. So Monday, we have that. Tuesday.
Wait, Al, hold on one second.
Yeah.
Before you go into Tuesday.
There was a
I
question.
think both Monday and Saturday are events that you can invite prospects to. People that you've been talking to about Manatech. It's another avenue to show them how great we are and the training we provide to people. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think as we said, people are looking for supportive communities. And if you can give them a taste of that, you know, I think that is probably your best recruiting tool that you have today, more than any video, more than anything else. Real people, authentic stories, real testimonials, people who care for each other, people who support each other. Guys, that is so unique. We have built something unique. You guys have something really attractive to offer to people outside of good products and everything else and a compensation plan, blah, blah, blah. No, yes, you do. We have all that, but I hope you're getting the sense of, you know, how good a proposition we have just in bringing people into the community. So every chance you have. So Saturdays, you can bring them to these meetings. You should be encouraging your people. Guys, this is how we're going to measure ourselves honestly. If this Saturday group doesn't grow, we are not committed to impact. Is that fair to say?
Mhm.
Right? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Again, I'm talking to you guys, leaders with love and everything else. If we're not growing this group every Saturday, we're not committed to impact. We want to be fed, but we're like a stagnant pond. We're not, our streams are not, flowing. And we have to be a pass through. We can't just be boom, it stops here. It can't stop here. So this Saturday group needs to grow. And look, guys, if you don't feel we're providing enough value on Saturday, let's figure out how to get better value. Tell us. I mean, we are open. This is your meeting. So if we need to do something to make it more valuable, let us know. Like one thing we're committed to is we're going to have an agenda every Saturday. So we'll know who's speaking, when they're speaking, what their topics are, so that we can stay organized, we can stay on track, so we can make this a valuable hour. And then every month, at least one meeting, we do 2 hours like we're doing today. Right? So this is our commitment. Right? And I think, you tell us how this can be more valuable. Because if you're not inviting anybody, basically you're saying, well, I'll show up because, I want to be a team player, but yeah, I'm not bringing anybody because this is really not, the kind of meeting guys, if that's the case, let us know. We'll fix it. We'll make it the kind of meeting you are proud to invite people to. Does that make sense? The second thing is our WhatsApp communities. Guys, that is your secret weapon. Use it. Okay, we got to get that number to 1,000. It's at 300 something right now. Let's get it to 1,000. Let's get 1,000 people involved and engaged and see how this thing. You cannot imagine the power of 1,000 people that are all of the same mindset. Right? And then the other thing, the last thing is, let's make sure this book thing grows. Make that your goal, make that your mission, that you are going to grow people in 2026. So I hope I don't sound preachy. I don't want to be on a soapbox. I'm just I'm with you. I mean, I'm one of you, and you know what? If I'm not bringing people to this meeting, then shame on me too. Okay, so this is on all of us to be inviting people to this meeting on a weekly basis. Anybody have any questions? Mark, I don't know if you were giving me the thumbs up or you had a question.
No, Al, I was just agreeing with you. One thing I've noticed with you guys, especially corporate, you seem to be quite gentle with us sometimes, and you seem to feel that this energy that you're pushing out, your incredible support and your incredible experience might be offensive to some people, which I find quite, maybe it's a Brit thing. On the contrary, I find it the complete opposite. And if anything, I would say more, Al, please push us, Al, please come and challenge us to stand on the edge of the abyss, challenge us to jump, Challenge us to fly like bloody eagles we are. I mean, you're so
All right.
polite, man. Come on. Absolutely.
Come on.
Come on. Come
All
on.
right. Well, preach it, Mark. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, we are being gentle, because I mean, nobody wants to be preached at and everything, because all of us need to be doing what we're talking about. Like I said, I got to start reading it, because let me tell you something about reading, especially at the leadership level. It's easy to get off that habit.
It is.
It's easy to get off that habit, because just like just like the rest of the world, we are mesmerized by so many of these things that are, all these screen time and so on, that we don't read. I'll admit, I have not read as much as I should be reading in 2025, and that's going to change in 2026. That's going to change in 2026. I will admit, I have not read as much as I could be reading. Thank God for Mary Jo's monthly summaries. She sends it to me, and that makes it easy. But guys, there's so many ways to read today. You can listen to it and while you're driving. Now, I do a lot of podcasts, I do a lot of things, but there's nothing like picking up a book and reading. Something happens magical because of you being in that space for that time. You're giving your brain a whole different exercise. So I think that's really great. Okay, so any other questions?
Hey,
Anything?
Al, somebody asked, what other
Next
WhatsApp
Tuesday.
groups do we have? And I
Okay.
said, we have one more, and it's the Wellness Advocate Group. We are renaming that group after our conversation yesterday, but I put in the chat the link to that WhatsApp. That's more for the business builder people,
Right.
not your customers. That's where we put all the news of what's happening next, calls, Zooms, all that stuff is in there.
Yeah. So we have the Livers Reset support. That's the big one, right? That's where we have the most people. We have the Liver Reset information. This is where we put prospects that are just looking at it for the first time. We have the Liver Reset maintenance. These are the people that are now in the maintenance mode. I'm going to have the conversation with you guys and Rose. We shouldn't have so many. Maybe we should collapse it into maybe 2 groups instead of 3 or 4 groups, because then it's a lot more work for people like Rose and others who are answering questions in all these different ones. And now we just added the South African one. They just started their own. So that's a lot of places to be. But also we're diluting the power of having a larger team.
The only thing, Al, with that is that they each have a function, so we can't put prospects in one. We may,
Yeah, I think this is where we might just leave. It should be one where prospects can come, and the other one is where. So people who are in maintenance we could probably answer maintenance questions as well. I'm just thinking that when there's too many, one is so much more work for you, and two, it's diluting the power of having a larger team. So that's all I'm saying. So keeping the prospects separate from associates and customers makes total sense. Having too many, because that would give us 3. So one would be customers and people that are coming in for the first time. Another one would be associates, and another one is actually business builders. So that's 3 already.
we can talk about it because it's, and I can give you another perspective just on another, like you and I and maybe Mary Jo and Lydia.
Okay.
And I can give you about how we managed it in the past and how it actually made things easier. But we can talk about that later.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Well,
We'll concoct something in the process.
we'll
Be
figure out
ready
some-
for it, people, so that we can keep it streamlined. Because I know when we build confusion for you, it doesn't help the field, right? It's got to be streamlined. It's got to be simple. It's got to be straightforward for you. Otherwise,
and it's got to serve the purpose. So I think what Rose is saying, there is a method to the madness. So let's just go, let's think through that, but and see how to best adapt to that. Also making sure that we're not creating confusion just by streamlining, but somewhere in between, there's got to be a good solution. So we'll find that.
And in
Okay.
the chat, I put the links to the other groups because I know we have some newer people on here today.
Uh-huh.
So you have all 3 links
Okay.
in the
Great.
chat now.
The main thing is, Rose, is we got to figure out which one is the one we want to grow. Which one do we want to get to 1,000 or more, where there's really a lot of energy there?
So the liver reset to me is going to be the one that we really want to grow because that's our entry point.
Is
That's
that the
like
one, the support group?
The info group.
The info,
or the support, because that's where actually
the
people
support, the
purchase.
support.
And
Yeah.
that's your entry level. But then after that, you don't want to lose them because after
Yeah.
that, they're like, okay, what do I do now? So that's why then everybody funnels to maintenance. Maintenance is probably where it ends when it comes to any type of wellness. We can even in the maintenance, we can even consolidate that into the rebooters as well.
Okay. Okay.
So we can consolidate chats.
Yeah.
And info can be any info if you want to. We can make it, we can repurpose it. Because remember, you have to have like rooms where you lead a person. You go here first. Instead of sending videos, you take them to a room and let the people do the work. Let the people answer the questions instead of one person answering the question. It's kind of like an ATM model.
Right.
And then liver reset is like they made the purchase. This is really good. And they, now you're in money making mode. And then maintenance, they're just going to love it because you're going to know how to eat. You're going to know what to do. You're going to know how to sustain that lifestyle. So you don't always have to stay. Some people stay in the liver support, I think, because they want to, because they're always bringing people in.
And
So
they're
remember
bringing
that.
people in. Yeah, they're bringing people
So
in there.
they don't want to get out of that because they want to. So I think that's what I'm saying. They all kind of serve a purpose, and it eliminates confusion, because if we put leads into the liver support, that's confusing. So I think that's why we did the different chats, so it eliminates confusion, and then we can have like a sheet, and I made one, and I can send it again to where the purpose of each group, what each group does, and who should be in each group.
Okay. And that would be continued training as well, so that as we grow these groups, and obviously, hopefully there's a main one or 2 main ones that we really grow. But you guys are doing such a great job adding people. When I was going through that whole thing, it's like, wow, some of you are very active. Sabine, you are like, bringing people in there every day. I love that. I love that. And quite a few of you are doing that. So that for me is what tells me it's working, right? It's working because it's duplicating, and it's growing, because growth is a big thing. Okay. So, all right. Let me jump into the next topic, because what we want to do on Tuesday, 7 p.m., a normal opportunity meeting, what we used to be just a liver reset opportunity meeting. We are actually we're going to launch the reboot. We're going to launch a brand new presentation that will give people at least the 2 choices of the liver reset and the reboot. Yeah, we're still working on that presentation. We'll kind of premiere it on Tuesday, 7 p.m. So it's going to be a meeting that you can bring prospect to. The goal is to get them in the liver reset program and to see that as also a business opportunity for them. But also we will be giving them the option of the reboot as well. So I know there's been, we've already done one presentation. Rose went through the nuance, the differentiation between the reset and the reboot. Let me give you my perspective on this, and then we can open it up so we can answer questions. And I'll let also Rose and Mary Jo and others, speak to the concept, right? So we know, as we've gone through like now 5 months, and we've had almost 400 people do the reset, the full reset. So we've seen that obviously that has worked. That's created buzz. We've gotten some amazing testimonials. Literally, I would say out of 300, I only know 2 cases where people did not complete the reset, successfully. Out of almost 400, 397 packs that have been sold between US and Europe, and only 2 people I know did not complete it. And then for the reasons that were very legitimate and not because it didn't work, actually because it worked too well. Either people lost too much weight or their blood pressure went too low, and they had to do something. But otherwise, it's as close to 100% success as you can possibly be in any kind of such program, considering the different kinds of people, different kinds of situations, people that have different medical conditions and different metabolism, blah, but yet everybody ended up with some of the amazing results, right? So, but what we're seeing, what we're trying to create is the duplication effect of that process, right? Because we want that 400 people to really become the evangelist, and then that 400 to become 4,000, right? Now, as we've gone down that road, we realize, okay, so why are people hesitating? Now, first of all, there was the holidays, right? So a lot of people wanted to wait until January to start because they didn't want to start a reset during the holidays, and I get that. As much as we couch it in terms of, hey, between the 1st and the 25th, you could do it and you could be ready for the holidays. I think people, again, remember, our prospects are literally mesmerized. They've been hypnotized. The world hypnotizes them. So they're not always in a place where they're going to make, these kinds of decisions. But I think most people agree now is the time.
Yeah.
Now is where most people are going to be open to doing something new, doing something different, creating new results, new disciplines. So this is a perfect time. And I know a lot of us, we're restarting either a reboot or a reset. I think January 15 is when most people have kind of slated to start their next, reset. But what we realized is there was 2 reasons why people didn't do it immediately. One, they were concerned about the time commitment. 21 days may have seemed a little daunting for some people. And 2, it was just coming up with $400 or 300 quid in England, or almost 400 euros in the rest of Europe. It was a major commitment when some people still don't know us, they don't know about our products, they don't know about things. So, and there were some communities that we know that's a big, huge commitment, especially when you don't have any track record with us. Our associates had no problem because they know the value of our products. They know what we stand for. So they went in, and you guys all did, and that was fantastic. That was great. So now we're trying to massify this thing. We want to open up the funnel so the most amount of people will join the program. So one of the tools that we created, a tool. So this is not a replacement. This is a tool to help you get people to do what we really want them to do, which is a 21-day reset. That is not changing. There is no shortcut to a liver reset. I don't know how many of you have noticed, but there's a lot of programs that have been popping up online these days. Most of them talk about a 21-day reset, 21-day program. People are paying just for the program, to learn the program, which we give away for free. You buy the products, but you get the whole program, the community, and everything else for free. Most of the people charge you just to be in that community, just to get the information. And then you buy the products on top of that. So anyways, so we realized then we might need an introductory program as a way to get people into the flow. Because the idea is to get them in the community. Once we get them into the community, I think we got them. Because they realize, wow, this is what I've been looking for, actually. It's not just I want to lose weight or, I want to reset my liver, whatever. Well, nobody says I want to reset my liver, but people say, I want more energy, I want less brain fog, I want all these things. And then they realize the liver reset is what's going to do that, right? So nobody wakes up in the morning saying, I need to do a liver reset. They wake up saying, I need this, and then you present the liver reset as a solution to those things. And then it's like, oh, well, then that's what I need. I need a liver reset, right? And so the reboot is a quick way for them to get introduced to our products, to our community, at a price they can afford. They don't have to really make a big decision. And then once we get them in the community, then we upsell them to the reset. At least that's how I see it. I see this as a ramp. It's a ramp into the reset, which is what the idea was. Some people have wondered, well, if it works in 5 days, then why should I do 21 days? It doesn't work in 5 days. You will lose 5 pounds in 5 days. That's true. But that doesn't mean your liver is reset. That's not the idea. That will never happen. Yeah, it took you a lifetime to get your liver to be that toxic. It's going to take some time to get it to be back to normal, or at least close to normal.
And it's an introduction, Al, to Manatech, because a lot of people, it's an introduction to Manatech. Ambertose is included, and then they'll say, "Wow, this actually works really good," and think about what it can do for you in 21 days. But at least they're getting Manatech in their bodies, and they're going to have results in 5 days. And they're going to tie that to, they're like, wow, okay, this does work. Manatech works.
And they're going to hear the word glycan, which they've never heard before. I mean, I sat down with a gentleman yesterday who runs a longevity center in the Cayman Islands with 45 employees. They got hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of people have gone to the program. He has an MBA in public health. Never heard of glycans, and never heard of how glycans connect to longevity. Guys, I'm telling you, for me, it's like, that's a blue ocean. We have a blue ocean. Now, by the time we were done, I can assure you, he knows there's a connection between longevity and glycans, and probably the most important thing that he can do for his very wealth. It's an $80,000 a year program. That's how much people are investing into their longevity. I mean, just to give you an idea, people want what we have. They just not heard about it. So the more we open that funnel, the more people get to know more about how glycans connect to all these other things. I think this is how we're going to make glycans as common as vitamins. So multiglycans as common as multivitamins. But so to Rose's point, they get introduced to that. They go through a very intense Manatech protocol, right? Between Ambertose, the cleanse, and the GI Pro Balance. They get a satiety to go with it. By the way, I just jumped on the satiety bandwagon, and for me, it's been pretty amazing. I mean, literally, I can go all day without eating, which is kind of, blows my mind. So satiety does work. So satiety is a free product that comes with that package. And that package is less than $150, right? So it's a good deal, and it gets people started. But we just want to make sure they know that this is not a reset. This is just a quick program to get you some momentum. And so with a measurable result, 5 pounds, right? We talk about 5 pounds in 5 days with 5 friends. With 5 friends. So this is, for me, a business building system as well, right? So the 5-5-5 program, 5 days, 5 pounds with 5 friends. We just taught them how to duplicate without saying duplication. Does that make sense? Right? So this is where this program can be really a great tool to get, not only to get us off the ground with the products, with the program, with the liver reset, but also as a business building model. You guys follow me? A business building model. On Tuesday, you will see how that works. Okay, so because the other thing we found is when we were doing the liver reset and only the liver reset, it was either 0 or 1 or 0. They either bought or they didn't buy. If they didn't buy, there was no other option. So at least if they're not ready right now for the liver reset, this becomes the fallback that they can use to get them to do something. Because this is the secret you got to learn. I learned that 45 years ago. People hate to say no twice.
Yes, that's true.
Hello? Did you hear me?
Yeah. It's absolutely proven.
People hate to say no to you twice. So if they say no to the reset, which by the way is never because they don't believe the reset works, is because they may not be ready time-wise or money-wise. Then you go, you know what? Then and then we're going to work on some very specific language on how you transition them to the reboot, right? What language you use for the reboot so that they go, okay, well, yeah, okay. So yes, I'll do that. Okay, great. Then get them in a reboot community. They get to experience us and everything else, and we will be very intentional. Everybody who buys that reboot package is going to get at least 5 emails over a period of time from the company to say, hey, by the way, this is the next step. So you'll be doing that. The community will be doing that. The company will be doing that. Okay, make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So 555 becomes a business building mechanism while we are using it also as a ramp to the liver reset. All right, I'll stop there. Rose, do you have anything you want to comment on that?
No, this is great. Everything's on point, and I'm excited about it as well. It's another lead funnel. Like everything that we do is with intention, right? It's not, I want everybody to know that a lot of thought gets put into this, a lot of long conversations, 2-3 hour meetings, because there's a psychology. Yeah, there's a psychology behind that. It's not random.
Right.
We think of the cells and the whole process from A to Z, how it would affect, how it wouldn't affect, how it may be confusing. Like this is all things that we have talked through, and they're things that are proven. These are systems that are proven, that have created massive success. So I'm excited. I'm excited for both. I love both the reset and the reboot. They each have their place. So I'm excited to have everybody here and make it a big 2026.
Quick question, Al, just because I haven't done the reboot or sold it yet. 5 pounds in 5 days with 5 friends. Does that suggest that the person who comes in has to be an associate? Because you can't be a customer with 5 customers underneath you. So how do you?
You can. I mean, you could engage 5 other people to do it with you. You
No,
may
but I
not
mean, in
have
terms of you have no income reporting up.
yeah, you don't. I mean, you don't have the benefit of the income, which that's how people will get smart very quickly.
So I have a question on that, Al.
Yeah.
I thought that we had that they at least get some kind of credit points. Like if a customer refers a customer, do we have a program like that or no?
There is a non-cash, you know what? I
Like a
believe
glycan points or something like
yeah,
that?
we still have something like that. But by the way, if we don't have it, then we can make that happen. Right?
I think it's a good incentive, Al, because
Right.
I think people are going to look for why should I go out there and get 5 other people? I mean, just because I don't need.
Okay, again, we're selling it on a fact that, hey, you're bringing these other 5 people as your accountability team. Okay, it's your accountability team. It's other people that you want, but I think you're right. People will work better from a point of view of incentive. So we'll work on that between now, and Tuesday when we launch the program.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that there is a customer referral program.
Mm-hmm.
But I need, yeah, we need to get, because technically that means they would get theirs for free, because they'll get enough credit points to be able to get their $150 back in credit points. So
yeah, look at it. Steph saying in Europe they have that. They get 20% loyalty points here in Europe for a referral. Right. So if they have 5 friends, they would get theirs for free.
They get theirs for free.
I think we have that in the US.
Do we?
Last time I spoke to Landon, I think we have something like that, which would be great, because then remember, this reboot can also be used as a monthly thing. Like let's say you get a brand new person, they're just not going to be fully immersed in Manatech yet. Core 4 is always going to be the thing that you want to refer, right? That's kind of like the flagship.
So our new moniker will be 555 free. In other words, 5 pounds in 5 days with 5 friends, and yours is free.
Yeah.
555 free. That's your new call to action. 555 free.
So So obviously, yeah, that's where they'll get religion very fast when they realize, oh, well, I'm already doing the things that I need to be doing as as an associate. So, but let's nail down the customer thing. Thank you, Steph, for reminding us that Europe has that program. We had that program. I am kind of confused right now whether or not that program still exists or not. So that's why I don't want to be categoric on it. But if it does not exist, I
It
think
will.
we can quickly re put it in place because it was in place before. So so the 555, yours is free, could be a great way to explain this to even customers, right? Even customers can have a benefit in duplicating. And as soon as they do, then I think you'll find it easy to talk them into, you've already done what everybody does. You might as well get the full benefit, get paid in cash instead of getting paid in points.
They'll tell you themselves. That's what it used to happen to us all the time. We didn't even
Yeah.
have to tell them. They'd be like, "Hey, how can I make money out of this?" We always made tools that would make people ask us. It was in their hands to make the ask.
Yeah.
So this is a great tool for that.
Great point. Okay, cool. I think we're getting to the top of the hour, so let's review the dates that we have. Monday, 10 o'clock, right? We're doing the word in and you'll be getting a beautiful flyer with all the information on that if it's not already out.
It's already in WhatsApp
It's
Business
already in
Builder Group.
WhatsApp. But Tuesday, 7 p.m., we're launching a brand new opportunity meeting. So can I ask you all a favor? Because how you start is how you end. I don't want to generalize that, not always, but usually you have an opportunity next Tuesday to launch yourself into 2026. And the way you do that is how many people you actually get on that call. Let's make it a powerful call. Let's make it a powerful call. What makes it a powerful call? Hundreds of people in the call. Even if we have to rally your old associates and everybody out there, but let's get people in there, ask them to be there. This is how I see it. If you're making all these plans for 2026, you need to let the universe know that you are seriously wanting to do these things. You know, if you don't get off on week one the right way, you're already setting yourself up to not do it the rest of the year. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So Monday is important because this is for associates who are really serious, who want to make 2026 a different year, and they start by creating some really strong intention. And your word is a strong intention. But Tuesday is where the rubber meets the road. So I'm going to really encourage you to get your other associates, the rest of your team in there. And then let's see how many prospects we can get on that call as well.
Yeah, I like the saying. Put the saying down for yourself. How you start anything is how you start everything. So let's start off the new year with a huge, outreach to as many people as possible. So we have this first huge liver support group meeting and watch what happens for the rest of your year.
And the rest of the month and the rest of the year.
Hey, Ross Marie, since you're an expert person on a hook, can you give us a hook on how to attract our clients to Tuesday's call? Nothing like putting you on the
Nothing
spot.
like putting you on the spot.
I know. I'm like, I'm being very intentional now. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
I'll put it in the chat. How about that? Let me think of a good hook.
Okay. We'll wait on that one. Everybody's hesitant. Now we have to spend a couple more minutes, Al. We can't let them go yet. They're waiting for the hook.
And then,
the hook.
I was going to put the hook in the chat because I've got to think of that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can put it in the WhatsApp group and everybody can grab it from there.
Yeah. So we are putting that invite for Tuesday. So we got to create that invite for Tuesday. So that looks like something that Monday we will, we'll gather and figure that out. But we need to get it out. I'm going to go live on Monday to talk about Tuesday. Let's get it out there as many places as we can.
Oh no, we're competing with Steph Sullivan. Oh. Did I see that?
Thinking some of our team might not want to wait up until 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I put it in my diary, but I can't guarantee I'm going to come. Giving the option
Oh,
of a
and
slightly
I,
earlier one.
and that's fair enough. And I think what we should think about, literally, I'm glad you guys are here because you can see where we're trying to go with this, right? And we can look at a plan for, we can look for a plan for Europe as well that kind of follows suit. Because Europe, you have done so well. I mean, you have done even sometimes better than we have here in the US, which is, I'm saying it because I want to throw a challenge out there for everybody. Europe is really gravitated to this plan and done incredibly well. So so we need to continue that momentum, right?
Yep.
So let's figure out how to implement some of these things as well as we go forward. But you have your own opportunity meeting every week. When is your opportunity meeting normally?
It's every Tuesday night.
Every Tuesday night, which for us is 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's 7:30 our time, so I think that's 1:30 your time.
1:30 afternoon at our time. Okay, great.
English, Portuguese, Spanish, with
Oh, wow.
alternating weeks of languages with translations back into the other languages.
Yep.
Oh.
And just I got a question is, how do we know what to invite people to if we don't know what's on the slides? Al, how would you answer that question?
That's interesting. That's a good question because in my years in the industry, I mean, basically, I'm inviting them to take a look at Manatech, basically, right? And now you could use the liver reset. You can talk about New Year's, resolutions, and if they've made a New Year's resolution to change physically, that this is they can't miss that.
How about inviting them to meet a person? We used to invite like that all the time. How about inviting them to meet a person? I want to introduce you to somebody. Like for the Monday call, like the word of the year, you can say, hey, by the way, have you chosen your word of the year? What is that? Let me tell you, it's free. Usually, they do this for a lot of money, but it's going to be absolutely free. You can come on and just one word can change your life. I heard a testimony of somebody and then you tell a story. You invite by telling stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also invite by meeting a person. This person has transformed many, many lives in the health space with the liver, with weight loss, and their parent with something that I've been taking for years, which is glycan therapy. That's my language. I know you probably have another. I just like that word.
That's good. The glycan replacement.
I like that word.
I like it too. That's what I used yesterday because I was talking to a doctor, so that made sense to them. I mean, I think it's a great word. So the idea is obviously either you're inviting them because it's an opportunity, you're inviting them because it's a mechanism to get their health goals in 2026. It's an opportunity to meet an expert in the field, so that's good language as well. But you don't have to know I guess my point is you don't have to know what's in the slides to invite somebody to a meeting, because in general, it's about transformation, either financially or physically. That's what you're inviting them to. And I like the language of meet an expert. People like to meet experts.
It's like inviting to a concert, right? Like it's the excitement. It's how you present it. It's how you talk about it.
Does that I don't know if that answers your question, Lydia, or if anybody else has any other thoughts on that.
That's perfect.
I also love the idea of talking about new you in the new year.
New year, new you.
Yeah, new you in the new year. What are you doing to ensure a new you in the new year? So come join us and see a great opportunity for you to achieve greater health, greater wealth, greater opportunity in your life. So it's because people like the concept of becoming what's going to change for me. We look for that at the new year. Every time New Year comes around, we're going to go, okay, what's going to be different for me this year? Right? Everybody gets glum and kind of sits back and goes, okay, what's going to be different for? We want to be able to take and put some excitement into that concept because they've been through so many New Years and New Year resolutions that nothing's transpired. So this is really, truly, truly about achieving a new you in the new year.
Yeah, and then there's always the definition of insanity,
Yeah. Yeah.
why would you expect different results if you're having if
Keep
you
doing the same thing over and over again, expect different results.
yeah.
Amen.
So but maybe tomorrow at the end of our word meeting, let's have a quick conversation about how to help people invite for Tuesday.
Mhm.
But again, it's if anybody who has said no to you on the liver reset, you should invite them because you have another, there is going to be another way for them to really start participating that won't cost as much and won't take as long. So I would go back to those people and go, hey, you know what? I know you were really, really impressed with the liver reset, but for whatever reason you couldn't do it. I think I have found a way that you can really get involved and get some of the benefit, and then be able to make a decision as you go for the actual liver reset. So those are the people I would connect with. Your old distributors, of course, would be people you want to connect with. And anybody who's on your list that you've been thinking about inviting to see the opportunity, make sure they come on Tuesday. So I don't want to overthink it, but maybe we need to just be ready on Monday to have a few more ideas there.
Yeah,
Because
and then talk
that's a
about
good
too that
question.
we're not going to let money stop you. And
Yeah.
then you can talk about the cheaper reboot instead of the reset. It's just don't let money stop you from making one of the best decisions you can for the new year,
For
right?
the new year, exactly.
Don't let
That's
money
that's,
stop you from making
that's
one of the
great
best
language.
decisions you can for the new year.
That's great language right there.
Mhm.
Don't
Because
let
if
money.
you can that's what you're doing. You're overcoming the money roadblock for those people. Now you wouldn't say that to somebody you're just introducing to them for the first time because you're trying to sell the whole reset. But if they're balking at the money or they already balked in the past, this is the time that you go, don't let money stop you in the new year. In fact, you know what? Most people are going to spend that much money on New Year's night. That's what they spend on New Year's night. That's what they look at. They look at how much money they spend. What are you spending for the new? I mean, we throw money away at stupid stuff. Invest in you.
Yep. Amanda has a question. Let me see. Amanda, something about what kind of Ambertos. It's going to be the Ambertos capsules. I don't know if that was the question.
Yes, it was, Al, because I'm thinking for $150, it can't be a tub of Ambertos.
No,
So
no,
it's
it's not a tub. No,
the
and that's
capsules.
it's capsules. Yeah.
That makes really good sense. I really
Yeah.
like this
It's only
idea.
5 days too. You wouldn't put
Yeah.
a whole tub of Ambertos in somebody in 5 days.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
might.
you would. Amanda's going, I sell that all the time, Mary Jo. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So by the way, because it's concentrated in 5 days, they're taking a lot of product in 5 days.
Right.
And
lot of capsules.
the net result of that is going to be pretty fabulous because you know what happens when you take enough GI Probalance, enough cleanse, and enough Ambertos, you will feel something different. Plus, obviously, the nutritional protocol. All right, so it is 12:08, and I know time flies when we're having fun. So again, congratulations for showing up today. I hope this was helpful. If it was helpful, give me a 1, give me a thumbs up. All right, because we covered a lot of ground. And you can tell we're going into the new year with, very resolute. I mean, we are going to make this a big year. It's one thing to say Happy New Year and all that stuff, and then go back and do the same thing you've been doing. Ain't going to be any happier than it was last year. Right. So we're starting with a different, different mindset, different intention. And I congratulate you all for being here and sticking with us to the end. So book of the month, right? So you got the link Monday, Tuesday, and next Saturday, we're doing a full-blown, game planning for 2026. So I think those two things combined, right, Robert? I think we are loaded for the most amazing 2026. We can say Happy New Year because we're going to make it happy. We're going to make it better. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mary Jo. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Richard, which obviously he's on to his thing. If you want to join him today and support him, I know I will on his launch. I think that'd be great. All right. Super. Have a great rest of the weekend. Thank you guys for showing up. We'll talk to you soon.
And Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.